Just gotta wait for people to join in now. Hello, somebody's joined me. How are we doing? Hope you're doing alright. I'm just painting a controller stand that I've just cut out on the CNC, which went surprisingly well actually. I'm finally getting the thing dialed in. It's taken 18 months for me to start using it properly, and I don't know why. I think it's because I've got the scroll saw and I don't have to use it. So if I don't want to take the time to set it up and I can't be bothered, then I could just use a scroll saw and do what I need to do anyway. But I also got my table from the upper workshop and I put that across where my drill press is, underneath the sheet materials that I built the other day. Did put a video up of me doing that. I built myself like a big floating floor kind of thing to put the sheet materials on, because it's a pain in the backside storing them, and at least now I can store them flat and they'll work a bit better and they'll not get warped or anything like that. Someone's going to come in here and ask me why I don't do this with a spray gun, and the answer is mess and space. The overspray that will come off that will just get onto everything because I don't have that much space here. And honestly, from cleaning up in between coats, it's quicker to do something like this with a brush for me. If I was doing more than one, I'd probably set up a roller and use that as well. Since I'm only doing the one today, I'm just going to use a brush because it's easier. I don't have to get a tray out, I can just use my tiny little pot. And the reason I paint these disassembled like this is because if it was assembled I wouldn't even be able to get to this point, and I won't be able to paint the inside because there's only a 12mm gap in between these two pieces, which is what that space is for. I've learned it from the past and I put two spacers on this now. I do have one at the top and one at the bottom, and before assembly I glue two pieces down, the two spacers, one on each side, and that makes assembly a bit easier and it makes gluing together easier. what I generally do is I'll do one coat, let that dry, come back with some 120, smooth off all the edges and get any imperfections out with that, and then I'll come back again and do the second coat, and then that should be fine. Interestingly enough, this is just MDF. Hi Spider, hi YouTube FM, how are we doing? Yeah, so I know I'm painting MDF, I've not put a primer on this, I've not put an undercoat. I've been doing these for years. Nothing bad happens if you don't use a primer or undercoat on MDF. You can just use 2 coats of emulsion, especially with colour, and it's generally fine. If it's white, you might need 3 coats because white just doesn't cover at all. Other light colours like yellow, you'll probably need 3 coats as well, but most colours you'll get 2 coats and you're good to go. How many subscribers have you got now, Spider? I know you just Numbskull was going on the other day that you had 50, which is pretty good. So this is a controller stand that somebody won in a competition. I put 2 in for prizes on people on a charity that was doing a raffle, so I just donated 2 of these as a prize. So they got in touch, and it's going to be Liverpool Football Club, the logo that's going to be on this one. You're probably not going to see that tonight because this paint isn't going to be dry tonight, ready for me to stick the decal on. Might be able to show you later on when the paint's nearly dry, because I'm doing this first coat. By the time I get around to doing all of these pieces, the first coat on the first lot will be dry, so like it's almost dry on there now. I can touch it. It's a nice hot day today, so it's going to be pretty good. 53, pretty good. You're not doing bad. You're growing fairly quick. I mean, I only get maybe 1 or 2 a day. On average, I get, I think it's 48 every 28 days is what they're telling me at the minute. So, you're not doing too bad. Oh, just realised I'm not going to be able to assemble this today because my fast setting glue ran out. I ran out earlier today. I meant to pick some up, but it's a bit too late for me to go and pick some up now. I've got to get this painted. Then it's a karate run with my daughter. By the time that's finished, everywhere's closed. So it's going to be tomorrow morning that this gets assembled. I know a lot of you guys are over in the US and in different countries, not in the UK, so you might not be able to see this get assembled, but I'll do a short video or something so you can see it. This is a controller stand. I make quite a few of these. So I've not got a finished one because these are made to order, as most things, but I'll try and preview this now for you. So these sit in those slots, like so. I can touch up the paint, I'm not too fussed, it's a bit tight. Obviously I don't need those bits, I can throw them wherever I want. Yeah. So yeah, those bits sit like so. You control the sits on here, a headset goes over the top, and then I put a name and a logo just on that front bit. I've got a video on them, how I make them and that kind of thing. So if you want to have a quick look on the channel, you'll see the process. That one I cut out on the scroll, so This one I've actually cut out on the CNC. I'm getting used to using the CNC now and letting that work a bit more because it'll be helpful for me. So I could have the CNC behind me running, cutting another one while I'm painting this one, and it's just going to help production really. If I get things done quicker, get more profit at the end of the day. It's like having an extra pair of hands working in the workshop, and honestly trying to find somebody that can cut out the way I do on a scroll saw is probably going to be fairly difficult because I've got quite a few years experience. I'm not trying to brag and say that I'm amazing or anything, but 9 times out of 10 when I cut something first time it's perfect, so I don't have to go back. But training somebody up to do that is pretty difficult. With a CNC, because it's computer controlled, it's going to be the exact same every time. It's going to be even more accurate than I can do. So, for example, these shapes, with them being front and back, when I cut them on the scroll saw, I'd cut them in pairs, and I had to keep them in pairs because there'd be slight discrepancies between the cuts. With a CNC, I don't have to worry about that. I could just keep a pile of these in a box and then just pull out as many as I need and then stock it back up again. So it'll help that way because they're all going to be exactly the same and mirrored, and yeah, it's going to be perfect. So it's just helping me be more efficient in the workshop. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty close to when he goes live, isn't it? So he normally goes live himself in 10 minutes. So I don't know if he noticed that I'm on or he will go live on his own. I'm not sure. I'm sure if he notices I'm live, he'll pop on and have a good chat until I'm done, and then he can continue his own live. That's it. I got the my table from my other workshop, which is there now. So I've got my table there. I've got my drill press on a smaller table. I need to tidy it up, obviously, because everything's all over the place at the minute. I've also got a mini workbench here. This is probably where my miter saw is going to be. I'll build a miter station on this side, and then in the middle I'll have my mobile workbench. I also need to build a box for my CNC because the amount of dust that got thrown around in this workshop when it was cutting is unbelievable. I had a look at the dust boots from Fox Alien, and they were like £50. And I don't know if I want to pick that just for a bit of dust collection. I probably will in the future, but for now, I think I might just build a dust box for it to sit in. Alright, Spider, see you soon. Yeah, so if I build a dust box for that to sit in, it doesn't matter how much dust gets in that box. I can put an exhaust on the back of it and vacuum it out, hopefully. But it's not going to cover the workshop and stuff. More importantly, it's not going to cover my laptop that I use to control the CNC, which would be pretty good. So obviously, this being for a Liverpool Football Club fan, they're having it in red to match their team colours, and the logo is going to be white. Generally, I do them in gold, red and gold, but this particular customer wanted it in white. And I say it's a freebie. It was a competition giveaway at a raffle that I did for a charity. The second one's not been claimed yet, which is interesting. But because these are generally what I give away for a charity that's doing a raffle, now I've got the CNC almost spot on. I can cut out all of the shapes ready to go. and I could just keep them in a box stored away, and then when I need to do one, I could just paint one up. It's nice and quick and easy. Same with all kinds of different stock, like the cream egg holders that I do. I normally do a couple hundred of them a year when it comes to Easter, so I can just be cutting them out on the CNC while I've got other bits going on. Just keep that working away. Make things a bit quicker and easier and more organised, hopefully. Get a chair and make myself more comfortable. Right, we're on 10 to 6. I need to leave at about 20 to 7 for the karate run. So hopefully I can get both sides of this done. That side's now pretty much dry. These edges I'm going to let dry a little bit more because the grain soaks up more. So I'm just going to go to this side. Any problems after this is all dried, I can just sand back and the second coat covers it. Oh, I'm using my Rolling Dog paintbrush. This is a 1-inch paintbrush. I hadn't used it yet because I've not had anything I needed to use a 1-inch paintbrush for. And I tell you, it goes on really nicely with it. Normally I use a 1-inch artist's paintbrush because the bristles are nice and soft and it goes on smoothly. This is doing an amazing job. I have a video where I painted an entire apartment. And Rolling Dog sent me the 3 of these brushes. He sent me a 3-inch, a 2-inch, and a 3-inch, a 2-inch cutting in brush, and this 1-inch. And they also sent a roller kit. So it was a 9-inch roller with a pole, a roller tray, a 4-inch roller, and I think it was 2 sleeves for each one. So yeah, if you go and check out my video of painting my entire apartment, which was about 2 months ago, then you'll see how well that kit works and how it helps me do it pretty quick. Rolling Dog were awesome just sending me that kit. I didn't expect much from them. But yeah, really good, really impressed with the whole kit. Welcome back, Spider. Hope you had fun wherever you went. Probably for food. You have food just as much as I do. Speaking of, I'm just going to get myself a little bit of chocolate. A White Lion bar. Snack size. Look at that. That's tiny. That's about 3 inches, maybe? If that. I don't even think it's 3 inches, maybe 2 inches. I'm going to get a ruler. Look, walking back from the lunchroom. See? Food. I knew it'd be food. What are you having to eat? It is 3 inches exactly. Snack size. It's a third of the size of a normal one. How's everybody's week been? Mine's been a bit up and down, to be honest. Been struggling a bit recently with mental health issues. Always going to be an issue for me. It's never going to go away, but learning to cope with it and keeping myself busy with work always helps. Which is probably the biggest tip I could give anybody with that's living with mental health issues, just keep yourself busy. It's the best thing to do. Then you don't have to think about anything other than what you're doing and keeping busy. It makes a big difference. You guys also help as well, so whenever you guys comment on my videos or like my videos and all that kind of stuff, it makes me feel a lot better. Alright, Spider, I'll catch you in a bit. Have a good day. I'm sure it's pretty early for you. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Throw this in the bin. With these bits, I'm going to do the second coat on these insides first, and then once it's assembled, then I can assemble it, and then I can paint this outside while it's all assembled, and that helps the transition between this section and the bottom be a little bit more seamless, because the paint will kind of fill in the little bit of gap that's there in between. Hopefully, as you can tell, the difference between the first coat and the second coat is tremendous. Like, the second coat goes on much better colour. It's the same when you're painting walls. If you're putting a colour on a wall, even if you're putting white on a wall, but if you're changing the colour of the wall, more specifically, it's always going to be 2 coats minimum, depending on how light or dark, well, how dark the colour is, and then how light your second colour is. It's probably going to be 2. If it's a similar colour and you're only changing a shade, a couple of tones lighter or darker, then you might get away with 1, but generally I'd just do 2 anyway, because there's going to be little patches where you're not going to get first time round. Yeah, twist you a bit that away, and you can actually see what I'm doing. Because I've got myself a seat. I'm making myself comfortable while I'm doing it. Can you guys hear the crows that are outside? They turn up every day around this time. Fight off the pigeons that are around, because the guy next door feeds the pigeons. They just basically scare them away and then get the rest of the food for themselves. Whenever I'm painting with these, I just use tester pots. If it's coming up to Christmas and I know I'm going to use and make a few of them, then I might get a big, like 2.5 litre tub, and then that'll last me a couple of years probably. But if it's just a one-off colour, generally I just get a tester pot from Wicks. I actually got these ones from the range because I was nearby. I was picking my son up from the pleasure beach and the range is just down the road. I say I'm not going to be able to assemble this today. It'll have to be in the morning. Hey buddy, how we doing? I'm just doing a bit of painting. One of the controller stands. I actually cut this out on the CNC earlier today. So yeah, it's working pretty well. The only issue I had was with these slots. I need to make them a couple of millimeters, well, I'd say 1 millimeter bigger on the width than what I did, because they were a little bit tight. I've had to sand them down a bit. But the next one, I'm going to make a tiny little bit bigger. It's probably not even a millimeter, it's probably 0.5 millimeter, but then it should be perfect. But after the sanding, they went together really nicely. What's going on with you? How's your day going? I think it's pretty early where you are. What is it, like 10 a.m? It's a controller and headset stand. You give me a few minutes to let this paint dry a bit. I'll show you. So these sit in them slots. So they're a bit tight. So it sits in there. These taller bits sit at the back and come around here, and you put your headset on the top, and yeah, your controller just sits in them bits. So I do a lot of these, especially around Christmas time. Oh, super tight. I don't mind being really tight. It means it's going to hold better. What are you working on? Interesting to see what you've got going on. I've been asked to sell this file as well a couple of times. Like, I did a video of making them on the scroll saw, and people have been asking for the file, so I don't know if I'm going to put it on an Etsy store or something and sell the file, because there is a lot of variants of this kind of thing, but none of this style. Like, I sat there and I designed this myself. Oh, you were engraving that the other day, weren't you? You were cutting out on the CNC. I saw that. It looks pretty good. How did it go? I know, but then if I sell it, people don't have to come to me to buy one, do they? Like, this is my design. Nobody else uses this design. But then if I sell it, I don't have to make them. I don't have to sit here and paint them. I do want to get away from having the end user to deal with, like doing the painting and the personalization. I'd rather just have the blanks. So if I cut out 20 of these and then just sell unpainted so somebody can paint them and sell them on themselves, I'd rather lose a little bit of profit not painting them than spend all the time painting them and get paid a lot less for the time. You know what I mean? Because people think, oh, it's only a bit of paint. It can only be worth a couple of pounds really to paint it, where in reality it takes nearly 4 times as long to paint it than it does to cut it out. How's this doing now? That's good. Second coat on this side and the sides, I think. Touching up the mess ups. Yeah, again, that's always a bit of a time consuming part, but it does make it look so nice when it's finished. Are you doing it the same style you've done the other ones with the black background? So for these, generally, for a finished single one, I'd sell it for £25, and then a double one, I'd sell for 30. So profit wise, they're pretty good, but time wise, it takes nearly 4 hours to paint and finish one properly, with the drying time in between and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, time wise, I'm not really getting much out of it. Whereas on the laser, if I'm just cutting shapes out on the laser, I charge £13.50 machine time plus materials, and that I don't have to do anything for that, but that goes towards machine maintenance and parts that it might need, like every year pretty much you need to replace the laser tube depending on how much use you get out of it. That's about 100. I think they've gone up to 180 now. I knew someone would come and say spray painting. Yeah, if I'm doing loads of them, it'd be worth setting up a sprayer. But generally going this way, even though it takes a bit longer to paint, like by the time I've painted this one, I'll be ready for the next coat on that one. So it just goes in a circle. A lot of the time I'm just like sat in front of the TV with like a little table in front of me, just kind of relaxing for the evening, getting these done. But that's only like at the Christmas period when it's busy and people are ordering these as presents and stuff. So I'd have like 10, 15 a week to do. So if I wasn't live, I'd be doing more blanks of these on the CNC. But it's way too loud to have running in the background while I'm live. Yeah, it's alright, it's just sitting there painting and stuff, it's fine. Oh, that's not quite dry yet. I'll have to leave that for a minute. I'll show you what I've done in the workshop though, because I've got my big table from the old workshop. So now I've got that table on that back wall. This is just going to be full of tools and bits and pieces. I've got a little table with drawers in it for my drill press to sit on. So that's going to be pushed up against that one eventually. And then I can put all my drill bits and stuff in them drawers. In that corner, where's a pile of junk, I'm probably going to build a table and an enclosure for my CNC, which is there. been used. I don't know if you've levelled off your spoil board. Let me take the camera off and try and show you. Spin this. Hello. Spin this around. There we go. So this is my sacrificial spoil board. Double-sided, not double-sided tape, masking tape and super glue. Makes really good double-sided tape for this, and then it doesn't stick to your stuff too much. So this is how far it's cut through on here. So it's like, I don't even think that's 1/4 millimeter. It's just touched it really. But as you can see, this edge here, this edge, there's one across at the front. I'm gonna pull this one up. I flattened this off, so this is the actual work area that it says we can have. So that's the 40/40. And I went across with this flattening blade and went across the whole area, and I took it down by 2 millimeters, which is what that lip is there. But as you can see at the back, there's no lip, it's just smooth. So this is the same height as that. So when I put my workpiece in here now, it's perfectly flat, because obviously this spoil board had a lump in the middle around here. Yeah, I don't know if you've done that with yours, and then you can make sure your material's flat. I just screwed it down at the edges where I knew the piece isn't actually going to touch. Well, I've also, because I've got a normal router there, that's a 1/4 inch router, and most of the CNC bits that come are 1/8. So I bought these on Amazon. These are just a collar that goes over the top. Dusty. Goes over the top of a 1/8 inch router bit and then sits into a 1/4 inch collet. So it sits perfectly and holds it. So that's a 1/8 inch bit that I've got in there. That's over the top. Then it goes into the normal collet. I did try and swap over to a 1/8 inch collet in that router, but it didn't sit properly, and then the bit had a bit of wobble to it when it tightened down, and that's what caused, where's my scrap piece at the back, the issues on this. Is it on this one? Might be on a different one. So these were cut on the CNC, but it didn't do properly. No, that's one that just didn't go deep enough. On some of the others, it'd be the top layer here, and then it'd move across a little bit to do the next one, and it wouldn't line up. It was just a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, I've got a pile of wood there that all needs sorting, and it's probably going to be underneath this rack when I build that one. But yeah, that's pretty much ready to go. Slide that up to there, build another table in that corner. Very busy. I'll turn that back around and get my painting done. I think that should be pretty much dry now. There, maybe. Sit myself down. But yeah, that's what I've been up to over the past couple of days while also working and trying to get stuff done. It's just been crazy, hectic, busy. Ready for the other side? I think we are ready for the other side. Any touch-ups I need to do later on, I'll do later on. Yeah, if you're going to do that, I'd do them both, one immediately after the other. The problem with these Masuta machines, they're not like industrial grade, they're more of a hobbyist machine. You know, apparently the cooker's broke. I might have to go in a minute. Yeah, they're not an industrial machine. The stepper motors absolutely perfect and they're not really strong. You can upgrade them. I think it's pretty expensive to get the upgrades through, especially from Fox Alien. But if you try and run them too fast or do the cuts too deep or whatever, the motors don't cope very well and they skip a step. And if it skips one step, that's it, it's dead. And it's not going to line up again on the next one. So you need to be very careful about your feeds and speeds. Run it a bit slower than what you'd think. Don't try and do too much with it, otherwise it's going to skip and it's going to jam up a little bit. I learned that with the old spindle, so the spindle that came with it. I put that flattening bit in it, and even going 1/4 of a millimeter at a time, it just bogged down. It wouldn't move, and it just made the most horrendous noise because the spindle couldn't cope, and the steppers were trying to move, and then it was skipping steps. And I was like, that's when I first put it away and didn't touch it again until I found that Erbauer router on Marketplace, and then picked that up pretty cheap. Managed to fit it in. I actually took the spindle mount with me, put it in at the person's property and said, yeah, that'll fit. And yeah, because if it didn't fit, I wouldn't have bought it. Because I didn't want it for I didn't want it for a routing woodwork tool I already had free. I just wanted it for the CNC. Thankfully, it works really well. So I run that on speed setting 4 out of 6. And I think it's about 1,200 millimeters a minute, which is just working millimeters a second on my laser. So working it out with that one is just, yeah. I don't see it as a proper speed, I just see it as a setting. Like, I don't think about how fast it's going to go, I think about the setting as like a pressure setting more than a speed setting, especially with a CNC. But yeah, just learning the feeds and speeds is pretty good. I hate painting. It's the worst thing. It just takes so long and it's pretty boring. I'm nearly there though. I can probably put this together in a minute but not glue it. And then you can actually see what it's going to look like. The cooker's fine, by the way. She texted me, she's figured it out. So thankfully I've not got to go and fix something else today. Anybody else get that? They got literally fix everything all the time. There is a chart that you can get to go off, but I think the settings that are default in Easel that are found are pretty good. They're a really good base to start out, and then you can figure it out yourself from them. I don't know, there's probably like a how I do it on the laser where it cuts loads of circles out, with speed down one side, power down the other. There's probably something like that you can do. because it runs off Gerbil, so you can have it change speed and power from different parts, so you can set certain cuts to have different speed and feet settings and see how it cuts that way. Yeah, what time are we on? 20 past 6. So, I've got to go in about 10 minutes. I don't know if we're going to go and do the karate run because my nephew, I've just had a message saying my nephew isn't well and he's not going, so it'd just be me taking my daughter. I don't know, I might do. She doesn't get to do much and it's school holidays, so all she's done is sat in a bedroom all day. Like, we don't see her. She just sits in her bedroom playing on a phone until we shout her. She doesn't even come and get food or anything unless she's told that she needs to get food. But, you know, teenage kids, it's going to be like that. I don't think I was that bad as a teenager. Like, if I was hungry, I'd go and get food. I was always eating. I'm still eating now, all the time. Right, so that's 2 coats on one side of that, 1 coat on there, 2 coats on the other side, 2 coats on one side of the other. I just brought my sawhorse. Don't put pressure there, Phil, it's not a good idea. Oh well. Taco salad. Sounds alright. I think we are having garlic butter chicken with mashed potatoes, maybe some veg. Are you still on your detox diet thing that you're doing? Righty. 2 coats on the whole of that. I need to do 1 coat on each side of that, 1 coat on them. But I'll probably do that when it's a assemble. Tail in. Tail in? No idea what you mean by tail in. Does that mean you're not doing so well with the diet? Yeah, detox. Right, guys, that's going to be pretty much it for me, though. Just about over. Nice. Hopefully you're feeling better for it. Yeah, I need to go take my daughter to karate. Probably sort out some food when I get back. But I'll finish off this coat Like I said, I need to get some more of my glue, I think. I can't actually see if there's anything in that. I hate these labels. Yes, the worst part. Actually, there's a good chunk of glue in there. It just wasn't coming out earlier. So, right then, maybe after karate, I'll come and assemble this, do the final coat of paint while it's assembled, because then any touch-ups that I need to do after assembly can get done then. I might hop on live for that, or I might just do a short video and then upload that in the morning. You guys can watch it whenever you want. Might be the better option. Yeah, then you can see the logo and everything, how that goes. So yeah, I'm gonna head off, clean my paintbrush, do the karate run, and enjoy the rest of my evening. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next one.